Are we live on all platforms? Or are we still setting it up?
We are live.
Oh God. Wait a minute. I wasn't ready for that. I expected Arvin to answer that one. Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Berkeley Poetry Slam. We are back at it again, not with the white bands, with the blue Nikes, with another poetry slam for you. Tonight, we have an amazing feature, Tova Ricardo. We have an amazing lineup of poets. But before we begin, I have to thank the people that make this happen. Of course, our patrons over on Patreon. We have been rocking out for over a year together through a pandemic, through all of the things that the last year has thrown at us. And it is literally only because of the support of regular people like you watching at home that we have been able to continue to pay artists, educators, poets for their work. So I'd like to give a special shout out to our patrons, Alice Nami, Melody Montgomery, John Romankiewicz, Stephanie Y, Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, and Calla Lily for risking it for the biscuit with us. I'd love to thank Jessica Kozakic for sponsoring one of our weekly workshops, and a special thanks to Alice Grimm for pledging $100 a month in support of one of our venues, the Allen Bluford Center. Our average donation on patreon.com is $11 a month, which means for less than the price of a Netflix subscription, because they keep jacking that mug up, you can support a global literary and performing arts movement. If you enjoy what you are about to see here, please, I encourage you to consider donating to our Patreon to keep this whole thing running. You can donate anywhere from $2 a month to $100 a month. All of it goes right into making sure that we can run these shows smoothly. Cool. Thanks so much for your ongoing support. We will see y'all for the rest of the show. We have a few rules, of course, for our poets. You have 3 minutes to share, with a grace period of 10 seconds, to share one original poem. After 3 minutes and that grace period of 10 seconds, you will be deducted points by our scorekeeper, Prophet. After 4 minutes, you will be muted, music will be played, and I will have to awkwardly host like that didn't just happen. So please don't go over 4 minutes unless you really just want me to be painfully awkward, like I'm not already. Also, word of the day, our time-honored tradition here at the Berkeley Slam, where we force poets to jam a random word from the internet into their poem for an extra point. Our word of the day is veracity. It means the truthfulness of something. There's a whole bunch of different definitions for it. The truthfulness or something, conformity with the truth or fact, accuracy, power of conveying or perceiving the truth, something true. Poets, if you use veracity or any of its different forms like veracito, I don't know, voracious, I think, I don't know. But if you use veracity in any of its forms, you get an extra point in the first round. Only judges, don't worry about that extra point. Our scorekeeper will take care of it. Speaking of judges, y'all have rules too. Judges, y'all are really important because you get to decide who wins our cash prizes. And you'll be deciding by giving each poem a score from a 0.0 to 10.0 scale. 0.0 is the worst thing you have ever heard in your life. It's like garbage. It's like bad news on top of bad news on top of dog shit on top of bad news. It's the worst. And you never want to see it again. And that's just a 2.5. A 10 is the best thing you have ever heard in your life. It's like Meg the Stallion's good news. mixed with Beyonce's Black is King, mixed with anything by Panic at the Disco. Um, and that's just an 8.5. Point being, there's not a lot of zeros, not a lot of tens. Accordingly, there's this thing I call score creep, where as the night goes on, and we get more settled into the, as the kids are saying, vibes, we think the poetry sounds better, but that's not fair to the people who went first when we were just disgruntled employees getting off work, even though they were dope. So we're going to have a sacrificial poet, someone to get you calibrated for all the poetry. They're not going to be competing, but you're going to score them as if they are. And any poems you like more, score them higher. Any poems you don't like as much, score them lower. And then finally, for you sitting at home, yes, you have rules too. Rule number one, like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you are joining us on tonight. It is no fun without you, and we do this 4 times a month. How many times? 4 times a month. And that's just this show. We have 2 other shows that you don't want to miss. So stay tapped in, like, share, and subscribe so you can find more poetry events in the Bay Area community. And then, of course, comment. Let us know how much you love the poets up here. Our amazing tech person, Arvind, our God, our Lord and Savior, Arvind Christ. Post your positive comments into the comment section, and it really does warm our hearts to see how much support y'all have. So please send all of your positive energy in that comment section. And also, donate to our GoFundMe. We have a GoFundMe to keep the lights on. It will be posted in the chat. If you can, please donate. If you can't, please share. It definitely does a lot to help us run things. Running a poetry slam is not free, and that's where you come in. Cool. Are we ready to hear who is going to be in the slam? Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo!
So our poets will be reading in this order. We have, I don't know which list is which. I'm just gonna read what I have, which is Nicole Tracii, Hino VH Jr. Is this the wrong list? Or is this the right list? Because I feel like this is different from what I saw earlier.
The correct list is right beneath it.
Is right.
The correct order is Nicole Tracii,
Okay.
Josh
I
Merchant.
I see. Somebody put the list in the wrong thing for me. We have Nicole Tracii, Joshua Merchant, Tino VH Jr., Samantha, Anna Allen, and Mai.
No
list.
Samantha.
No Samantha. So we have Nicole Tracii, Joshua Merchant, Tino VH Jr., Anna Allen, and Mai. Give it up for every poet that's going to be touching this virtual mic tonight. Woo! Which means that on deck, we have Nicole Tracii, but give maximum love for your sacrificial poet of the first round. Give it up for Reggie. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Content warning, race relations in the United States. A hood nigga's dissertation on colorism. Fuck your nuance. Some of y'all light-skinned niggas really get on my goddamn nerves. There's something about constantly needing validation from Blackness while simultaneously distancing yourself from everything that reminds you of it, that screams, bitch, you can't actually sit with us. Like, it's hard to be seen when these Martin Luther King, Talcum X, Rachel Dolezal ass bitches are taking up all the space, absorbing all the light, speaking with my voice while I disappear into the background of my own oppression, and you complain that you can't say nigga without your grandmother's racism threatening to crawl from your throat, while I don't know, an actual nigga, am too busy dying on your mismatched tongue. And if Jesus is in fact a Black man, he must be a light-skinned nigga too. because that's just like y'all. To be both instrument and evidence of death and still be praised, still be worn around a white man's neck, a symbol of peace or diversity. We niggas will be the first ones to pray for you and the last ones to be in your prayers. You say, God bless the white man. God bless the wolf. God bless the sheep's clothing, but never the niggas, never the herd, never the skin you strip bare off our bones just to prove that you belong here. You got the acting skills of a middle school play. You shuck and jive and then call it code switching. You fuck a white person and say hashtag goals, hashtag post-racial America, hashtag I am the poster child for what we all expect niggas to be, and it must be so nice to look so much like the oppressor, you forget the noose about the noose waiting for you around the corner. You ungrateful ass house niggas. You forget the fields that birth you. Forget that masters still make you sleep in the barn when you done riding his dick like that. Still growl a hard R through his teeth just to taste your blood between them. You forget your grandparents were on two different ends of the fire hose, two different sides of the sit-in, sides of a history you claim to know so well. You flip-flop motherfuckers. You unreliable assholes. You chocolate and vanilla swirl-faced niggas. Do you know how quickly they will come for you? How they will sell a black body just to make a fast dollar. Whiteness is taken just as easy as it's given, just as easy as you pass out black cards. Let your white friends say nigga, allow them access to a violence they already know so well. Violence that fits perfectly within the palms of their hands. So when they come for us with their rope and their fire and their metal and our bones, when they chant our names like a death song in the streets, when the ground opens up to swallow us real niggas whole, they will come for your blood next. But when you call to us for help, we will remember exactly where you stood before the ashes fell. We will remind you where you were when we needed you the most. Gang, 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 give it up for the self-efficient poet. I don't know who they were, but they were kind of cute, you know. Maybe you should get their number and then maybe you should pay them via that number. But judges, you should definitely pay Prophet your scores, please. And speaking of judges, y'all are now experts. I trust you. I believe in you. Thank you for doing this. So we're going to keep it moving. On deck, we have Joshua Merchant, but give maximum love to our first poet of the first round. Give it up for Nicole Tracii.
Check.
We can hear you.
I wrote a sad poem about my parents, but this time it is about both of them. I tell you the story and it is all a lie. I have no idea how my parents met. I know they dated for some period of time before I existed, lived together, but I don't think I ever lived there too. When I say they are divorced, I mean they were never actually married, but the end result is the same. And now all of my poems are about one parent or the other, but never both. When I say my parents are divorced, I mean I once got 4 birthday cakes because they refused to speak to each other, not even the polite rapport. I saw movies twice because my mother tried to be the fun parent once. When I say my parents are divorced, what I mean is they did go to family court when I was 2, and I probably went with them. Apparently, the matter was finished with my father's veracity that he refused to change a diaper. I mean, they went to family court again when I was 14 and 16 and 17, and I was not allowed to go any of these times. But dirty diapers were irrelevant, and this time the focus was on my father's inability to commit, and not to my mother, but to paying child support. And 8 years later, he has paid maybe a total of $200 and will probably die before ever paying it off. When I say my parents really aren't together, and my father pretends I don't exist, I mean it. I mean that the Department of Education almost revoked all of my scholarships, grants, and eligibility for low-interest student loans because they thought I, at 19, was committing fraud and lied that my father sent all of $27 my freshman year of college for child support. When I say my parents are divorced, I mean everyone else on either side of the family is, so it's basically the same thing. I mean, I love my mother from 3,000 miles away. tolerate her from 400 miles and any longer than 72 hours together, and we will have a very public screaming match. When I say my father exists, I mean, I assume he has not died, but I should not call him my father anymore. Since he no longer calls me part of the family, since I'm not on the family phone plan anymore. So I don't think Craig ever grew up and learned to be a parent, but I do think he loved me from about 10 until 16. When I say I write about one parent or the other, I mean, both have emotionally scarred me in vastly different ways, and that is why I write about them.
Gang, give it up for Nicole Tracii.
Let's go, poet.
Lit. And for reference, our sacrificial poet got a 26.9. Fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. Lit. So judges, send those scores for Nicole over to Prophet now. Lit, we are going to keep it pushing. So on deck, we have Tino VH Jr. We'll give maximum love for the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Joshua Merchant.
Meanwhile, while spiraling, while watching button poetry, I'm not a cute white girl. No one wants to hear the depression poem about the nigga who smokes black and mouths, masturbates all day, misses a job interview, and orders $20 worth of disrespect from McDonald's because that's what harm reduction looked like that day. On today's episode of In the House, I am featuring Prim's Hood Cinema, in which she reviews one of my favorite movies growing up. I realize A, this is a hood Hallmark card. B, one of the most depressing things I've ever fucking seen in my life. C, easily one of Ving Rhames' best performances. Yes, most of us have seen it. No, we don't talk about it. I punched the loved ones in the face last week. I was called a bitch. I could tell they truly believed I wouldn't do anything about it. I wasn't proud of that. Just tired of being ashamed, being threatened. I live with two other men, and if one of them isn't slamming every fucking door he walks through, he is mumbling something under his breath, or to my face, or just something looking at me, or something fucking crazy. I know, not a cute white girl. It's actually socially acceptable for us to scrap, but it's not socially acceptable to be 29 and evicted, to be 29 and a victim, to be 29 and look like me, 6'3", could probably dunk on you, but I prefer to pose and arch my back, and I guess that's my fault. That's my fault, you know, whatever. My favorite scene in Shrek is when Donkey says, you know, that's a nice boulder. I don't think Shrek cuddles with the boulder and swamp waters at night. Fuck, it's 4 a.m. When did it get to be 4 a.m.? I could sleep right now. Jake's a dog and Finn's a human. I traded my gills for a beard this month. Wanted to see how I'd feel. Crazy. A nigga I went to high school with tried to convince me to move back home after talking again for about 2 hours. When we talk about legacy, I wonder if allergies can be hereditary. Like, if I cut my hair now, will my children, my offspring, be born wildfires? Or shit, it's 7 a.m. now. Everything on TV is too violent, or too heavy-handed in its messaging, or too poor in its execution. My RPG makes more money than me. My RPG has a love interest that wasn't hurtful to them. My RPG is a hero or a villain and doesn't give a single fuck. Fuck, it's 9:30. I have to wake up soon. I think I'll rest my eyes for a sec.
Gang. Gang, give it up for the poet Joshua Merchant.
Gang, 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 gang,
gang. And for reference, Nicole got a 26.2. Once again, fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. Yes, if you like what you are seeing here, you should donate to our GoFundMe. We have been rocking out for a year in the pandemic. We didn't take a break. We didn't take time. We just jumped right into it. And that's been great and all, but like we got bills and we want to continue providing these programs at the level and the caliber that we have been able to provide them for the last year. So if you donate to our GoFundMe, we will be able to afford all of the things that we've been affording, like artist features, prize money, keeping a Zoom open because that costs money, all of the little things that you don't think about. So donating to our GoFundMe, it really does help us a lot. That link will be in the chat. Thank you so much for your support. And speaking of support, it's time to support a poet because on deck, we have Anna Allen, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Tino VH Jr.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Can hear you. Let's go, poet.
I've lost track of the amount of times I was assumed to be Native American by white people. It is a frequent occurrence. Someone somewhere will always reduce me to my looks, my hair, a footnote, a house salute across the Santa Cruz levee, a spirit animal they have no right to claim. It's like I'm plexiglass at a museum. They see through me and it's like Western expansion never happened. And then successful in their inquisition, deem it necessary to Columbus's body, put the foot in the mouth and ask questions of what tribe are you from? Do you speak Cherokee? You must be Aztec if you have that long, pretty hair like that, right? But they gawk in this belief when I say I identify as Mexican American, for not being the Pocahontas to the fantasies, for daring to make brown and beautiful synonymous without the permission of their white skin. And I have no idea what you mean by Indian, Native, or indigenous, but you will never fail to tell me the 1/16th on your mom's side raises the dead in your blood and speaks to me like you know better than I do. There's always been an entitlement to land or language or a name like you aren't the reason I'm reminded of all the things that we can't claim for ourselves. So I'll set straight for you. You cannot simplify all Native folks into one people when you're the one who benefits the most from the displacement, as no one ever died for you to be here. Like it's foul, the English is our most fluent language. You can appropriate our looks, profit our culture, make us value ourselves through your gaze. So plexiglass raises them these questions, becomes complacent in the identity you place them in. Still uses your white skin as a common denominator. The object you all gaze through shows you some racist caricature. But I mean of a culture you claim you're all familiar with, then disregard the native bodies are all alive. I'm not pressed against the glass. So close, you don't ask consent to touch. Like you're witnessing the survival of some extinct species waiting for me to reach forward in my grandmother's tongue. And wouldn't that be nice for you to speak like a grandmother? Like you didn't attempt to write down every word she told you, only to have her say, mijo, there is no alphabet for that. And you see, it's how you always use the oppressor's tools and put yourself in their gaze, how you wish to hold on to indigeneity, like that's supposed to mean something, like you want this brown skin to earn its dignity, a name, a language, a right to land, maybe a right to call upon its ancestors without fleeing the shame, like a corpse on display, glared up for all the wrong reasons to be attracted to. Colonizers should not be allowed to speak on the identities of those whose land they still occupy. You do not get to find my body, acknowledge its beauty until you recognize the genocide in your blood is unwashable. This is not for you to celebrate, not for you to speculate. This body is not for you to behold or define. But yes, while we're at it, I look better than you. Get over it.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Gang. I have a puppy. She's my co-host, Coco. And
Let's go
she's
poet.
telling everybody to give it up for Tino. Lit. And for reference, Josh Merchant got a 27.8. Once again, fuck the scores. Give it up for the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. Lit. Now that I have a dog on my lap, it's over for y'all. It's gotta be maximum cuteness. So on deck, we have but give maximum love to our next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Anna Allen.
Naming the stars. I read once that the harder you try to remember a dream, the further away from you it runs. Is it the same for nightmares? In my dream, she is kept holy. There's no cursing my name. There's no hand slither around my neck. There is no black eye under layers of concealer, no thinly concealed threats in my ear. There is only her and her eyes like fluorescent bulbs. There is only naming the stars after our future children. That one night on her rooftop, flat on our backs, limbs knotted, wearing nothing but the night sky like the finest gilded capes. And when I pick that up, I pick up the telephone to call, and I nightmare the time she slammed my head against the wall so hard. I saw the stars we named Amelia, Michael, and Abigail. Queer women get left out of the intimate partner violence conversation so often. I thought my bruises were of my own creation. I thought I'd painted on these midnight blacks and blues as blue as her eyes while she slept beside me. Not at all the tick, tick, tick bomb you knew she was. But my body has never fibbed. My ribs still creaked from the fractured cracks. My vision still blurred from praying at a pregnant moon. Still, I ate ashes when she left, wept mourning songs. We existed in circles, passing through I love you, screamed so hard. I wondered if she'd run out of breath the way I did with her hands wrapped around my throat. So many gentle caresses that seemed impossible her hands would ever turn claw again. And then she says, I was flirting with the girl at the grocery store, or I wore a bitchy tone that looked awful on me, or my smile, when she walked through the front door, wasn't traffic light bright enough, and then the wheel would spin, and I'd end up on the hardwood floor again. So is it true, what they say about dreams? Will my grip on her strands of hair loosen a bit every day? And what of this nightmare? I wouldn't mind the exorcism. I wouldn't mind the forgetting. I wouldn't mind the loosening. My fear has boiled over, sizzling when refugees hit the stovetop, smelling of charred milk and her. Every day there is a little less. Every day I am a little more.
Gang, gang, gang. Give it up for the poet Anna Allen. My co-host ran off to go be a puppy, so
Let's go poet.
I'm no longer cute. I mean, I'm cute, but you know, not maximum cuteness. Let me correct myself. Don't ever disrespect myself. And for reference, Tino got a 27.7. Once again, fuck the scores. It is all about the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. On deck, we have our amazing feature, Tova Ricardo, but give maximum love for our next poet coming up in the first round. Give it up for Mike.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I want to give a content warning for it's about like a hospital and overdosing. It's called Ode to Water in 5 parts. 1. Today I only had to get out of bed twice, and that was admirable. Today the withdrawals were half as bad as yesterday. Yesterday is the second day into avoiding 6 feet deep. 8 ODs the way we got here in the first place, though. At the emergency room, they give me at least a gallon of water. It probably saved me. Still left a bitter taste in my mouth, though. Throat still dry. Still thirsting for more contaminated pill-taking water. I'd like to think this was my choosing, but only my dilated pupils and the gods know the truth of the matter. Whenever I choose to die, someone chooses otherwise for another day. That's never mind, I'm alive again. 2. I read my rights every morning and night with my meds. The nurse usually checks my tongue by the 3rd paragraph of the introduction, so this is my introduction. I'm an addict. My rights include claimed humane treatment and access to a telephone. My rights do not include drawstrings, shoelaces, or peace of mind. I am nameless psych ward patient in room 1305, no allergies known. The man across the hall stares at me too long for comfort, so I tell someone. The nurses tell me I am mistaken, but I wonder how many times I've been mistaken for water. Mistaken for a body that moves whenever it is pushed, mistaken for a body that drowns itself in itself, mistaken for a body that does not know the word no. 3. I only had to read my prayers 5 times today. 4 positions I fell asleep in, then cried 3 days straight. Still too queer for the nurses to spit out my real name. I will drown their mouths in ginger ale until they can cough up the sound of a name so holy it will never come from scratchy throated mouths again. And for the first time in a while, I don't feel like dying. That's 50 times I've half fallen in love with the idea of living. 4. Chapel pews rot until I come home to them. They wait for the day I can finally feel at home in a seat made for worship. I hear hymns of healing, still not enough to have saved me the last 12 times. The sermon ended with mention of a river, a stream only the mud could find, so I became the mud. Had to seek out every piece of me in hopes of getting it back. I haven't found all of me yet. I'm still trying. I've learned to pray, head straight, eyes open, arms anywhere, the way I feel something all around me, hoping it's not something sour. 5. Now I'm starting to wonder how many times I can be mistaken for water, how many times I can shapeshift into whatever you need me to be. I wonder how many times you will fold this body while pipes grow around me and I shrink, and I shrink, and I shrink, and I am barely water, more pieced together than peaceful, still barely water. Maybe that's veracity though. Maybe I am water. Maybe I'm ocean though. Maybe I'm tsunami. Maybe I can be a body that does not know forgiveness. Thank you.
Hey, give it up for the poet Mai. Woo. All right. And Anna Allen got a 28.9. You heard it before. I'll say it again. It is never about the points. It is always about the poetry. Judges, if you could send those last scores for the first round to Prophet, while I introduce our feature for today. I read this bio earlier and I was like, oh my goodness, this is not only like a really accomplished poet, but also like one of the most professional bios I've seen. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Our feature for tonight is Tova Ricardo. Woo! Tova Ricardo is a Black Jewish female poet from the San Francisco Bay Area gang and is a recent graduate of Columbia University where she studied English and sociology. Ricardo is an award-winning writer and spoken word artist, having served as the 2015 Oakland Youth Poet Laureate and is a recipient of the American Jewish Press Association's Simon Rockower Award for excellence in personal essay. She has been published and featured in media outlets, including the San Francisco Chronicle, the Jewish News of Northern California, Columbia Daily Spectator, and KQED. Ricardo was a member of Columbia Barnard's 2019 Poetry Slam team, which placed second in the nation at the National Collegiate Poetry Slam competition, CUPSI. She has performed her poetry at venues including the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors Oracle Arena, and has shared the stage with Tony Award-winning artist David Diggs and the 21st United States Poet Laureate Juan Felipe Herrera. Enough said. Y'all need to sit back, relax, buckle up, hold on to your butts, because we have an amazing feature, and I'm gonna turn it over to y'all to give a round of applause for our feature tonight, Tova Ricardo.
Thank you, everybody. I'll be reading a couple poems tonight, and I'm just really, really grateful to be here. 4 Creole women play banjo beside a bayou, write blessings without mention of a man, a dream of labor or money. We write our names in the language of filet gumbo and the Mississippi. Thank God we are alive today. I say thank you to the golden cellulite creases I call safe country, to the cursive coils unraveled from days of Spanish Tignon laws, to the Black women before us, our grandmothers, who wrinkle these ancient waters from tremble to smile. Today we reunify, tomorrow we survive. Our roots are dispersed across the streams and seas of this earth, some lost, and yet we play banjo and read poems together. We look for each other in songs that pronounce our names correctly. There are so many hurt women we have not hugged or called or checked up on. I think of all of them as plethora and as one. She tends a garden of lavender yellow buds and salted tears. She holds her side from the pain of never nurturing her body. She brings a lavender stalk closer to her nose. She breathes in and smells a good kind of earth. She is unsure if she can trust. She has not returned to the South in decades. She is afraid that the land will look down on her. She's afraid that she looks like a woman who never learned to be as gentle with herself as she is with the land. I am 2 days returned to Oakland, and the city rests before the first gunshot of the night rings us into the new year. Beheaded Black boys swing through the molten sky. Brown girls with braced grins sip Arizonas through neighborhoods, looking too good to be true. I watch white people talk near the bus stop and never get on. I watch white people watch me buy frosted pies and Zataran rice from Yemeni guys who smile with golden eyes when they know you. I come home paler, with 2 degrees, a new relationship to God, and stories of being asked what I was mixed with. I spend my days walking in and out of borders defined by languages I have found a home in. I come home with new ways to talk about a city I can't save. A new border, who I choose not to name, makes but a memory of warm smiles and Black men behind them. I was raised an Oakland kid, and I have been losing my home ever since. The summer and I have grown tired of one another. I start to daydream about Harlem and the rivers of incense down 125th. I sit in a thin blue lawn chair and lick mango sugar from my fingers. A sea of shadows settle at my feet, and a lynch mob runs circles around my grandfather's shop, beer keg in one hand, my severed head in another. A horizon of hearse's engine grind the concrete. Dress shoes and Coke bottles catch my fall. I peel from my body that is sick of being a body and speak of no sadness but my own. Blood curdles and a new development rises. I call out my city's name and Oakland disappears. I oil a lineage of curls with the underside of acrylic nails. Steam and mango-scented conditioner soften the roots. Harlem stars catch a glimpse of brown, rented books on my desk, opened and folded and annotated with lemon-scented highlighter marks. My hands are soiled in eczema from hand sanitizer, and my day barely remembered. I do work in a chair serenaded by Sade, Charlie Pride, John Coltrane. I write my name legibly and in full. The homework may or may not be late, but it will be finished. There is an application waiting to be completed. There is a test to be started. There is an email to be sent. There is a friend to be checked up on, and still, I sip another cup of tea, finish the last braid, and unclench my breath. My heart has learned so much these years, and I'm still teaching myself how to calm this tireless Black soul. Tonight, the moon tilts into a smile. My sister and grandpa are around me. I lost them a time ago. I recognize their spirits from the incense on 125th and the peace in the wind that carried me across the country. Today, I hold a piece of future in my hands, a diploma, rectangled, inked in Black letters in my Black hands. I am the granddaughter of people who fled to better somewheres. Oh, America, my Egypt and my homeland. I am named from people who made good lives and took care of business. Today, I have done my best. And right now, that is enough. That is enough. In the secular world, I sing all my blues in the ash of diaspora. Each accented chet rides into a bloody assimilation. I sit eastward with my legs covered to the white dust of my kneecaps, and no one asks me what my name means. A Hamza ascends. From all the motherlands I am told to go back to or leave. She braids her fingers into an incense sun, the color of loved-on hoops on embered skin. Across the park, a salon of women eat thick hummus to the backdrop of a Hino Mimi lullabying us into fluency. A dozen bouncing payas sing Shalom Aleichem through the streets and get to keep their flesh. I scoop constellations of pomegranate rubies from a bowl, thank sweet baklava in a broken Hebrew. I sink my forehead into a golden spine of yeast and weep in a Black palm and a honey voice. Hebrew watches me, remember each other, 100 decades before the fire bombings. I know not if she wants anything to do with my fumbled prayers, my anglicized pronunciations, my tongue dreaded in the dialect of erasure. An evil eye dresses in the laugh of each man who made my family lose all of our language. I sing Tumbalalaika in the wounds of nesting dolls and call this Russia. I close my eyelid to the old country or Yerushalayim and find a pogrom where a name should be. Thank you so much.
Gang, give it up for our feature, Tova Ricardo. Oh my goodness. Wow. There was a line in that last poem. The first line like hit me in the chest. I sing all of my blues in the ash of diaspora. Way to punch somebody in the throat on the first line. I literally was like, oof. And like, somebody was like, you heard that? And I was like, how could you not? Thank you so much for that beautiful feature. What are the best ways to support you?
You can follow me on Facebook, Tova Ricardo. That's just, if you want to follow me, if you want to support monetarily, my Venmo is at Tova, TOVA _ Ricardo, RICARDO. And I mean, just support, like reaching out. My Instagram is L'chaim _TJ, which is LCHAIM _TJ. If you would just like to get to know me, I'm always happy to get to know people, but monetary support through Venmo if you would like, Tova _ Ricardo. But thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to be here. And I love the Berkeley Slam.
Thank you. I'm so glad we were able to book you. I think, as like a former youth poet, I love the work that comes from people who were on the youth poetry scene. Cause like, unlike the adult poetry scene where like there's such a huge emphasis on performance, and I mean, it's still on the youth slam poetry scene, but there's so much more of an emphasis on writing in the youth scene that kind of gets not thrown out the window, but like you're kind of trusted with that as an adult. But like as a youth, like there's so much investment of developing writers, and it shows. It shows when we have youth poets and people who came up on the youth scene on our stage. It shows how much developing writing from a young age works miracles, because damn. Thank you so much for coming out. Please follow Tova on all the social medias, drop money in the Venmo. Make sure you support our young poets coming up, already up, going even higher, but still, it's really important that we support the next generation of poets. I don't plan on doing this forever, doing this poetry thing forever, and it is amazing to see the folks that are coming up on the scene and sharing their work. In other words, y'all are slowly but surely putting me out of a job, and I love to see it. I can't wait to retire and give it to y'all. But yes, wow. Let me collect myself real quick. Collected, deep breath. For reference, in the last round, mine got a 29.2 again. We always say it, fuck the scores. It is always about the poetry, never the point. Yes, super excited. We just made it into the money round. Yes, poets have not been just competing for fame or for glory or for bragging rights, although those things may be included. They have been competing for cold, hard cash. We give prizes to first, second, and third place. So this is the round that will decide it all. And the poets will be reading in reverse order of appearance. And we took everybody from the first round into the second round. So we have Anna Allen, Tino VH Jr., Joshua Merchant, and Nicole Tracii. We're not going to have a sacrifice this round. We're going to jump right into it like it's double dutch. So on deck, we have Anna Allen, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for your first poet of the second round, Mai.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you,
We can
poet.
hear you.
Okay. That automated thing freaks me out. Sorry. I want to give a content warning. This is about being 1 year sober and addiction. So yeah. It's called Notes from NA. Sweaty palms drip holy water into heavy heart. Throat jumps into mouth. The words never found home in this body spill out from teeth. Hi, I'm an addict. Today I will be getting my 1 year chip. It's been a year since dust rebuilt its way into a chokehold. Powder took hold of this throat, tongue fell in love with the chalkiness, teeth fell in love with water after a dry swallow. Lips fell in love with the rolling of pills, body fell out of love with itself. Teeth chatter the tune of fear. My heel bounces off the air next to the floor, never hits the ground though. I was selling my skin for a daydream, delusion, and self-deception. I was sinking into sunken bones so far, I lost the frame of a body, lost the frame of a family. Swollen stomach and failing heart, the drugs only ever taught me the craft of make-believe and plain pretend. To make believe I needed a few tools. Assorted pills, an empty bedroom, and a body too tired. I took pills until I learned to deny an addiction to myself and everyone around me. But to play pretend, I needed the art of deception. I learned to convince my houseplants that I am not an addict, that pills are just for fun. I found the most efficient hiding places in my room and detected the most creaky floorboards. I had mastered my own self-destruction with a map. The only thing that stopped me, though, was the realization I was afraid of the sound of my own footsteps. Always afraid of where I would be going and where I was coming from. NA meeting feels like it's gone too long. I look around the room and no one is looking at the door. This scares me though. If no one is looking at the door, it means that I spent too long looking at it the past year. I don't know what I was afraid of. It's been a year since I gave up on deception. It took me so long to forget where I hid my own pills, which floorboards would get me in the most trouble. I learned to never do anything alone. The second tool for make-believe is an empty room. I wasn't sure I could go back to my bedroom without someone and be safe with my own mind. The cravings still come and no one waits for 1 year. It's 1 second by second I watch on the stopwatch on my phone, waiting for it to turn into a minute so I can start again from 1 and again and again. And any meeting has definitely gone on too long. And I stop my story there because I'm not sure where it goes next. Thank you.
Gang, gang, gang. Give it up for mine. Brah, 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 brah. Fire emoji. Pew, fireworks. Okay. I was about to announce who was on deck, like I had my list up. So you know, it's lit. All right. Boom. We got this. On deck, we have Tino VH Jr., but give maximum love to the second poet in the second round. Give it up for Anna Allen.
Hashtag for Dante Wright. They say he should have never gotten back into the car. He should have let supremacy reign, assert its dominance, lift its leg, and piss all over him. They say he should have never driven away. Black men are most volatile with their backs turned, with their hands up on the ground, crying, "Mama, mama." They say he should have never smoked that joint. Life for coons in the good old USA is so delightful, loose, gay. Why sleep away the dream? Hey, why don't you relax? How about relax? Why aren't you relaxed? They say they will honestly protect and serve like they protected Ayanna Stanley Jones, protected her from the guaranteed delinquent lifestyle of living past the age of 7, like they serve no warrant break-ins and do not resuscitate, but had never tried to present their front while running away, pasted on an enormous clown smile, minstrelsy with handshaking, good afternoon, sir. Lovely morning, ma'am. Lovely day, ain't it? They say that air freshener should have been shoved away. Roll down your window. The fresh air will help you relax, they say. He shouldn't have minded the stench of his future corpse, they'll say. That's what they say. Yet they always have so much to say. I don't know what else to say.
Gang, gang, give it up for the poet Anna Allen. Woo! Diamond, diamonds, smiley faces. Gang. And for reference,
the biscuit.
Oof. I'm not going to be used to that computerized voice. But yes, risk it for the biscuit because mine got a 28.1. Once again, it is all about the poetry, never the points. The poetry, never the points. On deck, we have Joshua Merchant, but give maximum love to the next poet coming up on stage. Give it up for Tino VH Jr. Woo.
Mic check.
We can hear you.
Okay. I hope there are no bones in my words to hold themselves steady. The San Francisco spotlight prepared them for something of this magnitude. They will shake but never misremember the stomping grounds I blossomed from. They feel like someone else's lifetime ago, of someone's old Nike strung on pitching chords in deep East Oakland. I hope the sun hangs there over those chords and never ages. I hope for a freeze frame of a time when everyone was under their own ceiling as the children commemorate in their closest corner with a busted fire hydrant and call it a swimming pool. I know the joy back then was enough to fertilize our front lawns for our flowers and our produce and our gardens. I hope whoever is alive between these words are alive because I am a result of the legacy. But they always grant me guidance. Yes, death is rogue and always the final route, but that doesn't mean we can't turn stones while we're still alive. Pay respect to all the ghosts that come and go. This is still their home too, as much as it is ours. My wish has always been to desire to live in my writing. There's a lifetime spent worth living here and honoring the dead, a duty to fall in this cycle. I am just starting my ancestor work early. My words duty ridden, warrior ready. We are not dead on arrival, just always familiar with its presence. I hope these words make a ghost of me. Hope these bones are the only words I have when I left, when I'm gone, that someday I'll be composted enough to be claimed by soil. Some time ago, I buried my heart under the roots of an oak tree, said, this is where I will stand. Long after I fall, I am done wrestling my purpose in this world. I'm just gonna keep giving back even after I'm gone. I'm sorry if that comes off as martyrdom. I come from a city where bodies are dropped from gates of my school. I'm just aware of how much infinity is snuffed from us. Of all the breath we draw and it's still not heard today. I promise I would only breath because this work is never done. I hope you keep writing. Hope you live with your ink still spilling from you, seeking revenge and truth raw in your throat, so when the autopsy comes, they won't know what to make of your eternity. Hope you make this your final choice, even when they try to rob from you. And trust me, they will always try to rob from you. They won't ever unearth you unless you let them. Hope you still blossom in your metaphor. Hope you sign yourself into everyone's memory. Hope someone honors your ink and makes a painting, a canvas, a mural out of you. I hope you stitch your story in the sky out of reach. All dead poets, a symmetry of their writing, told in their truth. Hope you cradle your writing when you grind across tectonic plates. You're always ready for this aftermath. Keep writing.
Gang, gang, give it up for Tino. Woo. Coco hath returned, so we are back to maximum cuteness. Judges, please be sure to send your scores to Prophet, and Anna Allen got a 27. Okay, girl, damn. Anna Allen got a 27. Once again, it is all about the poetry, never the points. It's all about the poetry, never the points. This could be a TikTok dance. Let me stop. On deck, we have Nicole Tracii, but give maximum love to our second to last poet of the night. Give it up for Joshua Merchant. Woo! Woo!
Woo! Let's go, poet.
Haven't decided on a title between old branding or rebranding, or never been that confused until I was told I was, or too sweet but still tired, or bitter melon, or sleepy time detox tea. Every time I sucked a dick, a slave ship cracked open. The only cotton we picked together was the fruit of the loom. If I catch you wearing a gold do-rag and a long white tee, I promise I won't drag you for being a sundress. If I turned a noose into a scarf, we all know who would give it a new name and wear it. If I turned a scarf into a noose, I would be beseeched for lessons you can't afford. Me. You can't afford. Me? You can't afford me. Thank you.
Woo! Gang, gang, give it up for the poet Josh, who a merchant. Gang. And for reference, Tino got a 27.3. Once again, it is all about the poetry, never the points. All about the poetry, never the points. I swear, if I see this in a Doja Cat video, I'm gonna find out who stole this TikTok dance. All right, but before then, on deck, we have figuring out who won this money. But give maximum love for our last poet of the evening. Aww. But give it up for Nicole Tracii.
Woo! Mic check.
We can hear you.
To the man who said I looked like Arya Stark from the neck down after seeing the one scene she is naked in. Really? This is the one time in 8 seasons you think I look like her? And while this is not the first time a man has said he fantasizes about me, it is probably the most creative way. And so he stands there, expecting me to give some praise. I mean, it's such a compliment, right? I could be a body double for any beautiful white girl. I would look perfect and out of reach on small and large screens. I mean, I should be thankful, right? Thankful that I am one of the top search terms for sexual fantasy, because after all, fetish and Japanese are separate search terms that are not mutually exclusive. And after all, it's not your fault the world only puts a fantasy out, says I can only be sexy or smart, and having boobs means I can only be sexy. I should be thankful, right? That you and so many men beat your dick to the idea of me without knowing my name or thinking about the bloody history white violence leaves behind. He sees me in every anime he's ever watched and calls me fan service and believes it to be a compliment. When he says I look like Arya Stark from the neck down, what he means to say is he's ignoring what strong women we are. Sees us as a pair of walking boobs, only calls himself a feminist from his male gaze. And yes, I am like Arya Stark. I am a bloodthirsty bitch. Arya Stark kills the goddamn Night King, and I'm sure she would sneer at your comments too, call you harmless because it would hurt your masculinity, would kill you in self-defense. And remember, we will not give you a warning if you put your hands on us.
Woo! Gang, gang, give it up for Nicole Tracii. All right. And Joshua Merchant got a 26.4. Once again, it is all about the poetry, never the points. All about the poetry, never the points. I'm working on footwork for this. Don't get me started. But while I am waiting for the scores, let me tell you about some other slams in the Bay Area. Of course, there is our sister show, the Oakland Poetry Slam, every third Tuesday on Instagram Live, Facebook, and YouTube.com/Bay Poets Unite. You can follow the Oakland Poetry Slam for more information. There is a $50 cash prize for first place, so you should sign up. Our next show will be next Tuesday, so don't miss it. We also have the Alchemy open mic every first and third Saturday on Instagram Live. If you search Rich Oak Alchemy on Instagram. You can be connected. Our next show is on Saturday, so don't miss a low stakes place to share all of your art, not just poetry. And I do have scores for Nicole. Nicole got a 26.0. Once again, it is all about the poetry, never the points. All about the poetry, never the points. But the points do decide who I am giving money to today. So I am stalling. Let's see. Call me a bathroom because I'm stalling. Call me a lemon because I'm stalling. Call me a Ford Focus because I'm stalling. This is how we get sued, everyone. Oh my God. Yeah, no. Someone said I should do a poem and I'm like, oh, that's cute. No. I already sacrificed. Okay, we have our scores, or our winners. So in third place, I need a drum roll. In third place, being 20 whole American dollars. Give it up for Tina.
Woo! Oh, my bad. Oh shit. Oh, wow. Thank you. I will be responsible for these $20. No, I won't, but I mean, that's none of your business, but have a good night.
Thank you, Tino, for your candor, for your veracity. Do I get an extra point? I don't need any extra points. I'm already beautiful. But thank you, Tino, for your words. All right, I need another drum roll. And Tino had a 55 even. All right, in second place with a 55.9, drum roll. Give it up for Anna Allen.
Thank you. I also have a book out with Nomadic Press. It's called I've titled this poem with your name, and it's just a bunch of gay shit, really. So you can buy it if you want to. Thank you.
We first of all, yes, support Anna Allen. I had the pleasure of being on a team with them. Amazing human being, an incredible writer, and also just down to support gay shit. I like to describe everything I do and love as gay shit. So I think that is in line with my personal interests, and I'm actually disappointed in myself for not copying that book a lot sooner than I'm about to. But lit, that means in first place with a 57.3, drum roll, give it up for my.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was not quite exactly paying attention at that moment, and then I got the start your video, and I was like, oh no. Thank y'all. Cool.
Thank you. Oh, this is we're both.
I don't know I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, cool.
Help me, God. Thank you so much, Mai. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Tino. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Tova. Thank you to our judges. Thank you to you sitting at home, entertaining us.
Thank you, Reggie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Coco.
And thank you, Coco, for being such a great co-host. We will see y'all next week for another poetry slam. Who's featuring next week?
I think it's okay.
We have a special announcement coming forward on our social media soon. So you should stay tuned. We have an amazing show next week. My name has been Reggie. This has been Coco. And we are out of here.
Coco.